all the time anyway. All right. This is Spiro the polyglot, like I have called myself, yeah? With Dan Lawrence, my good friend. And we're here to just talk a little bit, to get to know each other more, even though we know each other like 10 years or more, no?
Yeah, a little more than 10 years.
From Lido Pool, where I work as a lifeguard, and then you were there as a lifeguard at the beach for a long time. So that's
In the
one of
80s.
the things that we have in common.
Yeah.
The other one is that you love beautiful women, no?
Sure.
And you know that they're all beautiful, yeah?
Of course.
That's fine. That's another thing in common. But
And animals.
I'm lucky to have one that I think is the most beautiful in the world.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up here in Sarasota? I don't know if I remember.
I've been in Sarasota my whole life. I went to school here, elementary school, middle
Okay.
school, graduate high school, Pineview, and started working on the beach in '85. And after college, I left the beach and went into banking.
Okay.
It's been a full life. I'm almost 60 years old now.
Yeah. Like me, I'm 60. So in '85, you were 19, 20?
18.
18.
Just
That's right.
graduated high school.
How long were you a lifeguard?
I worked from '85 to '89.
Okay. Wow, only 4 years, but you have a lot of stories you have told me. I thought you were there like for 20 years.
Well, the good news is that after college, I maintained a very strong friendship with all the guys on the beach,
Okay,
and we all continued to do lots of things together our whole lives,
okay.
and still do today.
Yeah, that's what we have. Lido has been good to us.
It's a special place.
It is.
Everybody likes their hometown, I think. When you were a child, you have fond memories of riding your bikes and
Oh,
breaking the rules for the first time, education, first kissing the girls, whatever,
Wow.
it's all there. So, and fortunately for me, it's all right there on St. Armand Circle in Lido.
it is a nice place.
Yeah.
So,
I think most people in life, including myself, when you become an adult, you say, okay, well, what do I want? What creates happiness?
Oh, there you go.
And there's a balance between responsibilities, which could include work, which could potentially include family. Something horrific is divorce, which would be terrible. All of these factors play into your mindset usually. In some children or some adults, it happens early, such as myself, 18, 19, I basically was out of the house wanting to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
Some people wait a little later, longer, and they maybe stay closer to home until they're in their mid-20s or even upwards of 30, but that wasn't what I chose to do. But I think there's a reflection, as I reflect on my life and I look at my youth and what motivated me to do certain things, it all does stem from when you're a young child.
Child, no?
Yeah, 12,
How was your
13, 14, 15.
How was your growing up? What did you go
I
through?
experienced a lot of trauma in the household with various divorces and battling with other siblings, half-siblings. I saw a lot of unsettling occurrences, and
Okay.
no one wants that.
Yeah.
No one wants to be kicked out of the house for drinking beer or whatever, depending on how stringent a step-parent or parent is. But a lot of those things weighed into my desire, having no money, to wanting to get off on my own as quickly as
Good,
possible
yeah.
and try to succeed in life. But I think that there's a lot of the harder you work, the harder it comes to you, the more successful you'll become, in my opinion on that.
Yeah. No, I went on my own when I was 17, also, because of situations at home,
Yeah, you can.
I have
They call it unpacking your bags.
Yeah.
I think if for all of us, if you look at a person, if they were fortunate, which, we all wish we were as fortunate, but they had a very loving, caring, supportive family unit at home.
Mhm.
They wouldn't quite understand some of these things that we're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah.
But, it's interesting, if you look at some of the most successful people in life, they usually were a one-parent situation. You could go from actors to sports events to novelists to whatever.
Yeah, that's what I see too, yeah. Anybody that's...
Look at Demi Moore, was just recently came out, she was sexually abused as a young child, and she got out of the house at the tender age of 16, 17.
Mhm.
But you could go on and on and on and look at these amazing athletes, from Bo Jackson to name them all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them, but there's certainly a lot to it.
And then I haven't seen those families that you were referring to, like the perfect, loving. I don't think they exist.
I have a
but
great.
even if they exist, there's like deeper
There's
imbalances over there
There's some
too.
great families out there.
There?
Yeah, and I've met one you and I know very well. You remember Rudy Garber?
Yeah, I haven't met his family, but I remember.
Wonderful guy,
Yeah.
14th physician who moved to Sarasota, Florida. Wonderful wife, 3 fabulous children, very supportive. Their family tree is remarkable.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to be happy. Of course, sometimes you don't know. There's possibly some abuses of some side, but usually, if you see someone gravitate towards either drug abuse or something else, there's usually something in their childhood that started that, in my opinion. But the best way is to try to avoid those temptations and focus on what's important in life. And then the most important thing that I've noticed the older I get is, rather than seeking approval from others, or seeking approval from people I don't know, I've tried to surround myself with people that do know me, and people that respect me, and I like them, they like me, and we're all moving through life with a supportive role. So you can get the role you didn't get at home
Through
with
friendship.
the group of friends when you get older, because that's when you pretty much need their guidance.
Yeah. That's very smart, yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't think that judging is that's the one thing about the family at home unit you all think about, is you don't want to be judged.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to, oh, you should be doing this or doing that. You want to be free to express yourself, but
That's very important,
yeah, judging is never a good thing.
No, and
I know
happens
you Spiro criticized because I don't swim as hard as I should, but at least I'm swimming.
Yeah, you are swimming, yeah.
I'm not going for Olympic gold records these days.
Yeah, no, you're doing very well. The other thing that I was thinking, and I was thinking to call this, the channel that I'm starting in with the interviews, Egotitis. Inflamed ego. Egotitis. You understand the word? Well, I think we all have this condition, the ego.
No humbleism. Not being humble.
Exactly. So we all, we're living with egotitis, So we go through a lot of different things in life, different experiences, and we kind of wake up to the understanding that our ego is getting in the way and causing a lot of trouble.
I would equate that to what I would call self-awareness.
Self-awareness, yeah.
I think if you have a high level of self-awareness, know what your traits are, your pluses and minuses are, your abilities, and you act within the confines of that, you're going to do very well with others.
But it takes time to understand yourself and what's going on.
The problem is that not everybody seeks that to be nice and great. There's evil forces out there.
Yeah.
People that are not looking out for your best interests.
So,
I see it every day.
So in the religious world, in the Christian world, they say we're all sinners, yeah. So I found this word, the egotitis, that I like to say it in a different way.
Yeah.
That our ego gets in the way, and we try to learn how to deal with it. And
You have to trust your inner self, which sometimes that can come across as being an egotistic person.
yeah, no, I know it's like
So
surfing the whole thing.
I had a nail in the tire of my car. I picked it up at the airport, so I went over to Goodyear.
Uh-huh.
And the Goodyear guy says, "We'll take a look at it. We'll let you know, Mr. Lawrence." And they come back out. He says, "Well, I have some bad news for you." I'm like, "Oh, probably can't take the nail out and patch it." He goes,
Mhm.
"No, we really can't." I said, "Oh, there's worse news is you don't have that tire in stock." He goes, "No, it's because your car is a 4-wheel drive. You have to replace all 4 tires."
What?
So, is he a jerk? Is he an ass? What is he? Well, he's obviously trying to rip me off, so I just went down the road to Manny's and it was patched for $5.
Manny's, yeah, Manny's always comes through.
$5, but that's all it should have been. So
Yeah.
like I'm saying, there's you're never going to be. There are people that he probably thought I was an arrogant, egotistical guy who looked at him like, "I'm not taking your advice. I'm out of here."
Hmm.
But you have to trust
Exactly.
yourself,
No, you have to.
because not everybody's going to be
So
good.
when the ego is too inflamed, the egotitis, and it's causing you trouble over and over and over and over again, you know what I'm saying? And you can't stop, then you,
I see that where a lot of people have that narcissism or egotism, and they harm others around them, and that's
Yes.
what you don't want to have in your life. That type of a person.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think maybe I was like that when I was younger. That's why I see the big change that happened to me, you know, through my spiritual awakening.
You sound very humble now. Not in the day.
No, don't get fooled. I like your shoes.
Well, we do like to compete with others. There's a
And
competitive flair, and you have to believe in yourself when you're in that environment.
Yeah.
And so, but again, it's most important to just try to analyze someone you don't know and be sure whether they're toxic or not toxic. Like this gentleman who apparently manages Goodyear on Clark Road. Don't go there.
So I have to be with my pool kit all the time with the chemicals.
Yeah.
Checking the chemicals on the people, yeah?
Well, people's motivation is primarily to make their boss happy or their work happy, and sometimes that involves in a financial selling you something you don't necessarily need.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough balance, So, and right now we deal with it primarily in America with the healthcare system. You don't know whether they're recommending the right thing or wrong thing, whether it's the whole thing.
No, I don't know much about that or politics, you know. I have put a lot of time in spiritual stuff, you know, and healthy living.
That you would hope that people come back to you. Well, even the healthy living, I deal with it myself every day. Do I drink water? Do I drink soda?
Exactly.
Where do I get? Do you eat?
I just offered you Monster and chocolate, and
And
you
I
said
said
no.
no.
You wanna explain to us why?
Yeah. So, is an organic food really the best for you? Is it, or do you want food that are vegetables that have been sprayed with God knows what?
Yeah.
Do we trust the FDA? Do we trust,
Yeah.
what do we know is good or bad? I know for a fact that when I've traveled Europe, the food looks better, it tastes better, it's better food than what I'm able to find here.
For sure, yeah.
And for that reason, you would tend to think that more of a farm-to-table type approach is going to be a little better. I'm not criticizing the FDA by any means, but I think there's some problems. If everyone knows now, we go to the grocery store. It's just processed food is not good.
Yeah, and you can tell when something tastes real or not.
We've been struggling at the beach to find really good oranges right now.
Yeah.
We grow them in Florida. I don't know what the problem is. But the fertilization.
It looks like I know from the Dominican Republic, you know, when they grow something that is really good, they use it to export it instead of keeping it there.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, maybe it's happening here too. The oranges, you say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know it's a struggle for me to find really good oranges consistently when I go to the market. So I've been going to the farmer's market, and it seems a little better,
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I'm trying to, the older you get, your body doesn't have the abilities anymore to just fight off everything. When you're younger, you can fight off anything, sunburn, whatever.
Right.
Older, you just can't. So I'm more sensitive to the sugars and so I'm just trying to keep myself
Yeah,
as healthy as it can be.
I have a problem with chocolate. You know, I like chocolate a lot, and I eat a lot of chocolate.
Who doesn't?
And it shows in my blood work too that everything
Glucose
is,
levels are
everything,
borderline.
everything is a little bit.
Yeah, my blood pressure is
Higher, yeah.
going up, it seems. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And it has to do with age, I think. I don't.
Like you said, we have to try a little harder and relax maybe too. The stress is.
I think the most important thing, again, what does the body require? It requires nutrients.
Mhm.
It requires mental health and physical health.
Mhm.
So you can achieve both if you develop your friendships, you have your family, and you
Yeah.
cook at night and you
Yeah.
cook in day, and everybody's around
Yeah.
talking about fun, healthy stuff, and
Uh-huh.
you eat good quality
Yeah.
food. And it's always better,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. You seen the blue zone?
I was just gonna
area?
say it's a blue zone lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a
what
blue zone
it's
thing,
what
yeah.
it is.
Well, one of the places, the blue zones, is in Greece. The other one in Italy.
Yeah.
One in Japan. There's one in United States in Loma Linda, where the Seventh-day Adventists.
We have a Loma Linda Road in Sarasota.
Yeah. No, that's where I got involved with the Seventh-day Adventist Church and learned about
Blue
the
zone.
healthy lifestyle. Yeah,
That's the
they
way to be.
do. They
I don't
do
think a
lot.
blue zone person would have ever suggested to me a $5 repair requires $2,200 in tires.
No, they're not.
Because
I don't think they're into any of
if
that.
he was that way, they would kick him out of the community. What a horrible thing to try to do to somebody. You need 4 new tires.
Yeah,
Okay.
Who was the manager or just a
He was the
regular-
manager of
Oh,
the
he was
Goodyear.
the
I'm sorry
manager.
to lay into him
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but I don't know what he learned when he was in general population for whatever previous crimes he
So
did.
another question comes to me.
Yeah.
How have you stayed single all this time?
Well, that's very simple. You can go back to my youth and see that my mother, who was mentally ill with a disease called borderline personality disorder, had gone through countless men, several divorces. She was pretty abusive emotionally to her children, because she had 5 and she only spoke to 2, and she had kicked out 3 young underage children. And so I didn't equate the home as a very loving, fun place to be. I was constantly scared of being in trouble.
What number kid are you?
I was the
5.
really youngest.
You're the youngest of all?
So it wasn't. I can see where that wasn't something that brought fond memories to me. So I ran out and immediately, most people know, I opened up a business, was successful at that, and then retired young at 44 and started pursuing some other hobbies and things like that. But it's just part of who I am.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to get involved in was a divorce situation. From an economic standpoint, I've had enough issues with the legal system and trying to find right and wrong, which is hard to do when you're dealing with lawyers who want to make money, although the judges try to get it right.
You were boat racing then you started after you retired?
Well, I always had an interest in boats. I started at the age of 9, and at a very early age, making them faster. And then there's a gentleman that, when I was about 10 or 11, he let me work in his shop, a world champion powerboat racer. So I started with fast boats as soon as I could.
Oh, okay.
I started racing way before I retired in 2000. So that was a fun career, raced around the world,
Yeah.
raced at a very high
Tell us a little bit about it.
I think it's anything that if you talk to, just look at yourself, any of us look at ourselves. What do we want to do? Do we want to be a rider? I always wanted to be involved in high performance boating and racing, so I think if you work hard at whatever your goal is, it's not going to come easy, you'll be successful at it. But I had a great career. I met all my peers. I've raced around the world. I've represented the USA. For me, it was satisfying.
Yeah. They have like different categories, different sizes.
Yeah, so there's really globally there's like 2. There's the Super Cat and then there's a Super Stock.
Which one?
I was in Super Stock, which is outboard boats. We run 120 miles an hour typically. What's interesting about that is the better you become, you feel like the more people hate you.
It's probably true. Yeah.
And so you look at the more successful someone becomes, the more resentment you get.
Crazy.
You get admiration,
Yeah.
but you're not feeling the admiration
No.
because your competitors are constantly going
I
after
have
you.
the example of LeBron James now. So many hate stuff I read, and the guy's like, he's been good on and off the court, and
Well, I can see where he's a target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big
Anyone
target.
that's a high level of success. In fact, whenever you try to do something good, the resistance is going to be there.
yeah.
So,
But comparing it with, like, I lived in Greece and I know basketball stars there and stuff. They don't do that to their stars. The European countries, some respect. You know what I'm saying?
well, so you look at Pantani, the greatest Italian cyclist in the world. He died, committed suicide because they attacked him.
Yeah.
Look at Bradley Wiggins. You can look at all these
They're still
great champions.
It happens
Sure.
to them too. You saying?
Yeah, we have we don't. If you really want to break down the world,
Yeah.
in my opinion, the content. So, if you wanted to know something that was happening in Italy when we were in high school in the '80s, how would you find that out? Yeah, you'd have to go there.
Mm-hmm.
If it was reported on, it was accurate reporting.
Mm-hmm.
But then they became cable and CNN.
Yeah.
Now you don't have accurate reporting, and then the internet opened up. You don't even know what you're
No,
getting
I know.
content-wise, right? You
No.
have no idea what you're seeing or getting. So, but I would say that for sure, people like to critique. If you're on your way up, it wasn't an
Yeah,
easy ride
yeah.
up
No,
because
no,
everybody's
no.
battling you on the way.
No,
Same with
and
me.
maintaining it over there is harder than even getting there.
It's horrible once you're there too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're looking to crack. Everyone is looking to criticize.
Yeah. Then after
But-
your boat career, it comes to my mind because you have shared with me about your near-death experiences. You had a few.
11.
11?
Yeah, I'm too risky, I guess.
Are you alive or dead right now?
It's fairly risky.
11. Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 3 or something.
No, I had a couple different ones. Obviously, the most notorious was I was flying an airplane home from the Keys, and the motor blew up. It was negligence on the part of a mechanic that had serviced the airplane just before the flight. But he didn't put the motor back together correctly, and then it blew up. And I was successful enough to live and survive the landing in the Everglades.
Crazy. What year was that?
That was 2012, I think.
Are you thinking it has changed you in any way right after that experience?
Well, obviously, right after that, I decided I didn't want to work anymore.
There you go. Yeah.
I thought there was no need to
I had that feeling, and I haven't had a near-death experience.
enrich. I didn't want to enrich everybody around me, including myself. So I said, okay, I got good news. I'm sick of being yelled at by everybody or yelling at others.
Mm.
So I just quit working. That way I didn't have to yell at anybody anymore.
That was at 12 then, yeah? 2012?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
by 14 I was done. I just said, no, this is it's really the end of it. It was November 12th. So, but it took me about less than a year to decide that work was not going to be for me anymore. Because if you think about it, if you're working, whatever you're doing, and you have employees or people that you need to do something for you, it's argumentative. It was argumentative for me to go to the guy at Goodyear after he tried to rip me off for $2,000.
Yeah.
I'm argumentative, saying, okay, you're an idiot, I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, oh, you can't leave, my car's gonna be fine, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't want that.
Yeah.
I definitely will tell you that everything that I accomplished in my life and what I've seen others who have accomplished primarily was a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Discipline too.
Yeah, if you look at Larry Bird, he'll tell you that he practiced and he shot 1,000 balls a day or something crazy.
Yeah.
He just sat there and shot.
That's a good example because I'm a shooter myself. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I did so much. You know, like 4 or 5 years in a row. I lived in the basketball court when I was growing up, so my shot is deadly still. You know.
Nice.
So that's the example that I have. That you know you can do good in anything, but you have to put a lot of time. You know.
It's just the way life is.
Yeah, yeah.
What the other part of it too is, again, if you have tremendous support.
It helps if you love the thing that you're doing.
That too. Yeah. If you have support, you know, from family, people you know and trust.
Yeah.
They have to be honest, but it's nice when they're supporting you in whatever endeavor you are. It makes it a little easier.
Yeah, I haven't had that.
No, guys like you and me, unfortunately.
It would be different, but it's all good because life has other things, you know, for everybody. You find things.
Yeah, there's a justification and reasoning process which I would never want to go through, because I feel like if you're justifying something and creating rationale behind it, there's probably no reason to be doing it. Like, oh, well, other people do it. You know, so just be honest, I think, and true to yourself is important. But, I like to find good people, and I constantly, every once in a while you see bad people succeed, and you just say, okay, well, I'm glad that that's for them, but
I think when that happens, they have some good principles, like, you know, they might be bad people, like you say. I don't know if they're good or bad, but there's, like, they have discipline and they're doing things the right way. Even, you know what I'm trying to say?
So, in the old days, when I believe this to be true primarily,
It cannot be that they're doing everything bad and they're succeeding. So
Well,
they're putting the work in, the discipline.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
So, in the old days, and I refer to the great roaring 70s and 80s, when you actually wore a suit, which I'm not even wearing a suit, to do an interview on Johnny Carson, people would get a job, and you would stay at that job until you retired.
Yeah.
And your allegiance was to make sure that what you did made that job grow. Like you were, whatever company you worked for McDonald's.
Like in the sports too, the NBA teams, you know, the stars stayed with the same team the whole career.
Right. So you that was what you were supposed to do. Now, CEOs of big companies will come in, and they will, let's say, cut costs, which were not good for the company and not good for the customer. They'll eliminate all kinds of stuff, and they'll make more profits initially, but the company itself will suffer terribly. But then they leave because they're only there for 3 years.
Yeah, so they.
A CEO of a company or employees. So you get these managers. They constantly go from job to job to job.
So they're making the moves according because they're only going to be there for a while.
They're making moves that create what you would say looks good short term. But in the grand scheme of things, for the overall wellness of whatever it is they're working on, it's not going to be good. Same with the human body, with physicians, whatever. They might be able to do something short term that's going to make you feel great, but long term for your body is not going to be so good.
Yeah.
An example is an orthopedic surgeon, and there's certainly good ones, and we need them. But I know several that have indicated to me when they're drunk, drinking whiskey and stuff, that they can look at any MRI and require surgery because they make whatever it is, say 12, 14 grand of surgery. But the human body is an interesting thing. It can heal itself. So do you wait 90 days and let it heal on its own, or you do the surgery? Well, they're going to do surgery. So if the surgery's successful, which most of the time it is, okay, but the body could have healed on its own. But if it's not successful, then the rest of your life, that person is going to have a problem, which it's not the doctor's fault. Oh, you injured that. That's why we did the surgery. So my point is that, in my opinion, we have a life that is erupted with short-term internet stuff like this, data everybody can watch, and it encourages short-term positivity. Another easy example, you're seeing all these YouTubers create these great videos of feeding sharks or feeding alligators or doing crazy things with wild animals. Well, that's just not good for wild animals.
No, yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, if you're encouraging, you're wondering why the shark attacks are higher or whatever, it's because sharks are inherently afraid of us. A wild animal is afraid of you, but if you start feeding it so you can create content, he's not as afraid. He sees you wants to come over and get something to eat, or he's thinking food, and then that encourages bad behavior with the animals. So I think that there's a lot of truth to that in the way adults work in the boardroom. I think it's the way lawyers act in the courtroom. And so, you know, that the theory of, well, it's what's good for my family, what's good for me is good enough.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it is today, where I think in the Ronald Reagan years, I'm using as an example, he was always the kind of guy that would encourage people to do the right thing and be exposed for what they had done.
Yep. Different
That
world.
helps
It
you.
was different world, yeah.
It's what we really need to go back to. So,
Yeah.
like, my understanding is there are certain countries, perhaps New Zealand and some others, where they don't have a lot of access to this, and they live. You go to the same town, and
Yeah.
the grandchild of the guy who founded the general store is
Yeah.
now managing this.
That's why I like the Dominican Republic, and I talk about it all the time, because they have, you know, because it's a third world country, but it's not really, it's way ahead of even United States in many things, you know. But the people have stayed, you know, together, the friendships, the family, you know,
That's the Blue Zone way.
exactly. It's totally blue zone. The people are really,
It's
really
what
nice. You know?
everybody here. You don't want to argue with your siblings. You don't have to argue with anybody. You want to know that if you've called them, I needed a ride back yesterday. Most people today, they just Uber, right?
Yeah.
I ran into a friend. I said, "Do you mind if I drop a car off and can you give me a ride back?" That's nice.
It
That's
doesn't
old
happen.
school.
Old school, yeah.
And it's the way
It's
we really
crazy,
want
yeah.
it to be.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't want to say, "Oh, just call an Uber." I guess we're fairly selfish too in the way we look at society.
Egotitis, remember the name of our show, Egotitis.
Yeah,
That's why it pops up everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, it's good in a way, but then another thing that came to my mind, you see the older people here, you know, when they become, you know, 75, 80, 85, because they're so independent, the lifestyle, you know, you're always independent from 15, now you end up all alone, you know, and you don't know how to be with your family if one of your kids wants you there, if that usually they don't, but you don't know how to be with others too, you know, because you're so independent, so you're lonely, you know, where in the Dominican Republic and in Greece, my mom is very lucky to have my sister. And
She lives at home,
yeah,
basically.
she's rich, yeah. But over here, I know a lot of older people from the church, you know, that are all by themselves, you know, and they're lonely.
You don't want to live that way.
I mean, that's the American way.
If you're in a single family home, you got problems because you will be lonely unless you don't have the family.
Yeah.
You can make some communities and apartments and condos. It's up to the residents, but there's possible to create that sense of family.
Yeah.
Where you look at each unit as more of a retiring to your bedroom, but you have a sense of community.
Yeah. But it's different when it happens organically, you know? Like you see in the blue zone places that they're like 15 people in a room, and just having tea or coffee and just talking is naturally, nobody, you know?
You don't go back
The
to
egotitis is a little bit less.
Yeah, so
over
we go
there.
back to the egotitis thing. So, I have had situations where I have been a show-off. Real expensive cars, very expensive boats. Come here, look at me type stuff.
Mhm.
I've,
But people like that too.
I've accomplished a situation where
You had more friends then or less?
winning a boat race and holding the checkered flag in front of a crowd of 20,000 people screaming and hollering and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I would tell you that that's not rewarding.
No, yeah.
No. If you're seeking admiration from those who don't know you, it's kind of a worthless.
Yeah, and it's empty. Yeah?
It's terrible. If that's the ego, Titus, you're
Yeah,
talking
but-
about, it's horrible.
But I mean, it's normal too. You become champion. The people want to cheer and no.
Well, they will, but that, whatever you're enriching yourself for the 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever that day is, it immediately goes away. So you'll see in a lot of professional athletes or musicians, you see a lot of
Yeah.
suicides or whatever, depression,
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah, because it looks like you have everything, but you're totally empty.
Yeah.
You know.
You're really missing the boat. Whereas, for me to go out with no fancy watch or no fancy anything and go to the beach and talk to you and talk to some others as I'm swimming, it's so much more rewarding. It really is.
Yeah. Just the organic.
And what's interesting
normal
is
thing.
these individuals that you think because you believe, well, once you're successful, people will do things nice for you. They'll never let you borrow a car or do anything. They're there to borrow your cars.
None of it.
They're there to stay in your house,
It's
in your
fine.
vacation home.
Yeah.
But you don't get a call from them that says, hey, I got this place in Aspen, if you want to use it, go right ahead. You'll never get that call.
Unless the guy just had a near-death experience or something.
But
Then we have done 36 minutes. I think it's good for first time.
It's up to you.
We have to do some more because we touched some good subjects,
Yeah.
but we have a lot more.
yeah,
I appreciate
you
you
got to
taking
do
the time.
the 5 30-second clips, right?
What do you mean, like
Most,
edit them and do the
yeah,
text?
most people's attention spans
I
are
know, yeah.
very short.
Uh-huh.
So you have to do the
I have to learn how to
shorts,
edit.
yeah.
I'm not
Oh, here's-
too good.
Can I take this?
Yeah,
Are we done?
take it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll do some more.
The reporter doesn't
Thank
like what I had to say. We actually just wrapped it up.